Better Call Saul is without a doubt one of the best TV series ever made, and not only didn't have to live up to its bigger brother's standards, Breaking Bad, which was hard on its own, it also had to create its own identity, and well, it definitely did. This show can be described in the simplest of ways as one revolving around a goofy, extravagant lawyer and his girlfriend/wife getting into some goofy hijinks and fraud. But that doesn't make a good video material.
I didn't realize, I'm sorry.
Instead, I decided to make a breakdown video of the show's final season that started airing in the month of April, because it's so undeniably amazing. And since they divided the season into two parts with a long time gap in between, I'm going to make this a two-parter with the second part coming out, you know, when they release it. Also, this video contains a shitload of spoilers for the entirety of the series, if you couldn't tell, so if you haven't watched it yet, I recommend you doing so firstly, but if you are a true intellectual above the IQ of 12-16,
one after Magna Carta,
and either watch the show or simply don't care, let's begin. So, the last time we saw Saul was quite a long time ago, 2 years to be exact. This hiatus was of course caused by the silly virus that shall not be named, and general difficulties wrapping up the series. And for that reason I am going to first refresh your memory for where we left off. Saul and Kim just experienced a first-rate encounter with Lalo Salamanca.
Hey guys!
The unforgivably menacing as well as cheery character that sometimes is so pronounced it comes off as almost psychopathic and crazy for the circumstances. He is probably one of the best written characters this season and overall in the entire show, but we will get to that later. After those events, Kim and Jimmy decide to spend a night at the hotel for safety precautions, but are terrified nonetheless and at constant unease for the rest of the night. Later on, Kim decides to continue her work day as usual, and Jimmy tries contacting Mike for any information whether they are safe or not, and learn that in fact, Lalo is supposed to be shortly assassinated by Gus's men.
Lalo Salamanca is going to die. Tonight.
Tonight?
This time tomorrow it'll be done.
Afterwards that day, Jimmy and Kim decide on, as they put it, taking Howard quite a peg after his recent interactions with Kim that day.
Before you make any big changes in your life, there's something about Jimmy you ought to hear.
Okay.
A little while ago, I offered Jimmy a job at HHM. I'm guessing he didn't mention it to you. He said he had to think about it. But then the very next night, he threw bowling balls over my front gate.
Bowling balls?
Someone could have been really hurt. More or less destroyed my car. Then, a couple of weeks later, I'm having lunch with Cliff Main, and I'm accosted by two prostitutes. Actual prostitutes. Jimmy had sent them to make a scene. I confronted Jimmy about it. And after some hemming and hawing, he all but confessed.
And that's it? Sorry.
Which subsequently led them on taking such extreme measures as destroying his career will become a major plot point in the following season. As for Gus's storyline, he is quite nervous and skeptical about the upcoming Lalo Salamanca's assassination. For one, he has already seen how resourceful and focused on exposing him Lalo is, which makes him a huge threat for Fringe's operations that are at risk. That said, he would gladly get rid of him, but probably knows that it won't be so easy. And in the middle of all this is Nacho, aka the funny Far Cry 3 man.
I like this phone. It's a nice fucking phone.
Who has been forced to go with Lalo, which makes him at risk, since not only he is secretly Gus's informator, he will also be on enemy territory, which puts him on the spotlight when the actual assassination commences, making him the first suspect for the Salamancas. When he and Lalo get to his home in Mexico, they are greeted by all the residents, which mostly are made of staff taking turns guarding the place. And at first, Lalo seems to be happy to see them, as so they are too, but once he introduces them to Nacho, his motivations become crystal clear.
Un tiempo es un amigo mío. These are my people. Yolanda, she is the best cook in all of Chihuahua. You're gonna eat like you have never eaten before in your life. Cecilio, he takes care of all of my gardens. Los jitomates de este año.
Grandotes, jefe.
His tomatoes are the best ever, eh? Ciro, Miguel, Gerardo, Raúl, and all the rest of these fools, they're supposed to be guarding this place, but I just keep them around because they're so pretty, right? ¿Y qué? ¿Me voy a poner a cargar mis propias cosas o qué?
Perdón.
Ponte a trabajar, chamaco, no sea huevón, ándele, cabrón.
Sabía que tenía
¡Ándele, cabrón! Hey, listen, welcome, smile, you're in my house, man, come in.
He treats them and thinks of them almost as pets. They are very inferior to him in his eyes. I connect this resemblance in character with Hector, who has also stated multiple times that in fact only people who matter and make things happen are the Salamanca, and nobody else.
You have to work together. It's what the boss wants.
The boss can suck me.
I'd watch what I say if I were you.
Who you think you are? You should be kissing my ass right now. Me and my family, we built this whole business.
We all did together.
No! Salamanca did. Salamanca money. Salamanca blood.
You have to calm down.
That hacienda, I pay for it. And you treat us like dogs.
The only difference in Nacho from everybody else in Lalo's eyes is that he has proved himself resourceful and thinking on the spot with a dash of crazy, which I think reminded him, well, of himself. Nacho possesses traits of a true Salamanca, ultimately leading him up for a promotion, as Lalo states. After that, Nacho gets an ominous call, telling him to open the gate that night to let the hitman that Gus hired in.
Yeah.
Hay un portón en la parte de atrás del lugar de Salamanca. A las 3 de la mañana esta noche. Quítale el candado. Ábrelo. Lárgate de ahí.
¿Quién eres?
A las 3 de la mañana. ¿Entiendes?
Vas a hacer esto limpio, ¿verdad? Tiene por lo menos 7 hombres aquí, pero también hay varios ancianos que nunca le han hecho nada a nadie.
Then they head for a party held by none other but by the saluting enthusiast and leader of the cartel, Don Eladio. A conversation between him and Nacho commences as they discussed his future wishes as well as plans on running cartel's business up north. Don Eladio ultimately gets the liking of him and any suspicion or doubt is cleansed. Finally, at night, the operation starts. Just when Nacho is supposed to open the gate, he notices Lalo. After a short talk, he realizes he has to make a distraction for him so he can open the gate. After making up an excuse, he ultimately sets up a pan with olive oil on his stove, which causes a smoke and a fire, ultimately luring Lalo inside. Finally, the hitmen are let in and Nacho escapes.
¡Ciro!
Siempre es lo mismo contigo, carajo.
¡Ciro! ¡Ven acá! ¡Ciro!
¿Qué pasó, patrón?
¿Qué hiciste? ¿Estás fumando otra vez o qué?
Patrón, yo no fui, en serio.
Ciro, no me digas mentiras y no le eches la culpa a Miguel. Ya estoy harto de que me estés diciendo mentiras.
Patrón, se lo juro por Dios. Hasta me compré un encendedor. Mire, yo no fui.
Lalo then fights his way through these attackers and ultimately comes up on top, but before he gets rid of the last guy he has other plans first, and stages the scene so that it would seem that even though all the hitmen were dead, the assassination was indeed successful.
Alguien nos contrató. No sé qué.
Está bien. Yo sí sé.
Bien. Bien.
Les vas a hablar. Y les vas a decir que fue un trabajo difícil. Pero que ya está hecho. Ven. Yo te ayudo.
After that, we can see his rage come up as he furiously walks away from the mayhem that he left behind him. And that's it for the recap for the last episode of Season 5, meaning that we can dive straight in the first episode of the 6th season titled The episode starts with a really long shot of Saul's house. A keen viewer would already notice one thing. Where's the lizard man with the black and white filter? Every first episode of every season so far started with a gene scene, and now we definitely have a time jump, slightly hinted by this book, but this change of filter also suggests that this is not happening at the same time. From what we can gather, it's probably happening right after the events from Breaking Bad, where Saul had to leave his life behind and change his identity. And his house is currently cleaned up by, I guess, a cleaning company? I don't know. And the scene ends with the camera looking at the bottle cap from the episode where Kim and Jimmy run the first scene together.
Hey, are you a tequila fan?
Yes. You down for that?
You ever try Zafiro Añejo?
No, I have not, but I'm down for whatever. Through whatever she just said. You got it. All right. So, stock market. A great investment. And you're picking the right time to jump in.
Why do you listen to him? An idiot. He talks about his car. He just talks about...
How many cars did he have?
I don't think... doesn't make sense.
I can. Oh, yeah.
Right there, Victor with the K, and Giselle, you are next.
This is so exciting. Folks, it's been a pleasure.
Oops, I got that.
Can't let you do it, son.
Wait, what? Ken, you are the greatest. Thank you.
No problemo. Hey, this will be the best decision you'll ever make.
Oh, I believe it. All right, well, we should get out of your hair.
Yeah.
Wait. This is for you. Now, that's got all my contact info. Call me anytime with questions or anything at all.
Ken.
Bye. Call me, guys.
Bye.
Try and stop us.
Wow. Just wow. Hey. What is this right?
Yes, sir. It is.
This is a pretty pivotal item to the story. It basically marks the point of change for Kim's character and her morals. But the fact that we see it here is concerning. Because the last time we saw it, it was in Kim's possession. So the fact that we see it here in Saul's home during the events of Breaking Bad, when we know for almost certain that Kim wasn't present in Jimmy's life at the time, it probably doesn't mean anything good. After that, we get the intro card, which in Better Call Saul is pretty important. Basically, you can see that it deteriorates in quality as the series progresses. With each season, the amount of bugs and glitches increases, and now it barely resembles the first time we saw it, and I think it basically shows us how Saul's morals and ethics get lower and lower with each season. This time indicating that they will hit a new low, and to be honest, it's not even a theory at this point. In this season, Saul's behavior is the most similar to that of the one we know from Breaking Bad. He is that sleazy, greedy lawyer, but still with some signs of humanity left that we've seen in the first seasons of the show. Then we are cut straight back in where we left off last season. Nacho is on the run and he is guided by Gus's men. He's told that the assassination on Lala was a success, which we know it wasn't. We know. After killing all the hitmen, we again join Lalo. He visits this house of actual normal people. At first, it doesn't really make sense what he's there for, but after this expression and him slowly grabbing the scissors, it's blatantly obvious.
Quedó bien, ¿no?
Muy guapo.
At my first watch, I didn't fully understand this scene. The bad guy known to kill people for no apparent reason kills again. Maybe he needed a place to stay and had to dispose of any witnesses, but at the second watch, it all connected. First of all, later on this episode, we see the cousins arrive at the scene of the massacre, and they pay their respects to the body of who they thought was Lalo. But we know it wasn't him, so who was it? And at the beginning of the next episode, we get this exchange between Gus and Tyrus.
Incident report, autopsy report, site map. It all checks out. Dental records too.
The dental records, that's oddly specific, eh? Well, because it is. Going back to those normal folks that Lala presumably butchers, we hear about the teeth of this guy.
¿Cómo va Mateo de los dientes? ¿Ya mejor?
Sí, su dentista trabajó tanto. Antes Mati pasaba la noche entera sin dormir.
This means that the medical records were probably fabricated to be Lalo's, when in fact they weren't, and a additional line making it all come together is this.
Le daría la mano, pero... Ah, cabrón, yo nomás el hombre de la montaña. ¿Se te pareces a Sisi Top? Sisi.
Arréglate para don Eduardo, báñate y rasúrate.
Ah, sí, claro. Mi disculpa, don Eduardo.
Vas.
Con permiso. Oye, Mateo. Déjate el bigote, se te ve bien. Sí, don Eduardo.
Mateo is the corpse we see here in this scene. Lalo is so prepared for this kind of situations that he has literal decoy people without them even knowing it, which proves furthermore how much of a monster with absolutely no morality he is. And Gus knows this. Lalo probably terrifies him, which is furthermore shown in this scene where he still doubts the outcome of the assassination. Afterwards, we come back to Saul and Kim. They basically go on with the normal daily routines, Kim gets on with public defender duties, and Saul goes about his own business, and encounters some familiar faces from the prosecution of Jorge de Guzman, who is basically Lalo Salamanca. After he paid the bail and ran to Mexico, the police suspects at this point that Jorge de Guzman isn't real, and they confront Jimmy about it.
No tax rolls, no school records, nothing. Fact is, there isn't a single Elizabeth McKinnon under the age of 73 living in New Mexico.
Well, this is surprising.
Your client has disappeared, and I'm not waiting 6 weeks to start looking for him.
Hey, my guy put up $7 million in bail. You think he's just going to walk away from that?
Who comes up with $7 million in cash?
You know what I think? I think the family was fake, and I think you knew it the whole time.
Hold up. Let's just get real for a second. The hearing didn't go your way, and now you're trying for a do-over. You say my guy ran, I say he's got 7 million reasons for showing up when he's legally required to do so. So, no, I won't be due process window dressing at any crash meeting with Parson. And if you try throwing any of this crap around in front of the judge without my presence, here's an accusation: prosecutorial misconduct. Career-ending prosecutorial misconduct.
None of that changes the fact the guy's not who he said he was.
No, hold on. You guys got caught with your pants around your ankles and somehow that's on me? I don't think so. You've got 24 lawyers up there. You got investigators. You got the whole damn police force. And it's my fault you can't keep track of Lalo. That is not my job.
Lalo? Who's Lalo?
What? What did I say?
He now have basically planted a seed of doubt in this officer's mind by misnaming the client. He brushes this off as a slip of the tongue and quickly walks away. Later that day, he meets up with Kim. She's happy by working as a public defender, helping the little guy fight back. It seems that Saul doesn't really understand her, as he was a public defender once and he despised that job. Then we go back to Nacho. He's again guided by Gus's men. They tell him to stay at this hotel and soon enough they will get him out of there. But something's not right. And Nacho notices. The scene is ended with Nacho dialing the number. Right after that we see Mike. He's watching over Kaylee when he gets a weird phone call. He knows it's Nacho, but he doesn't answer. He knows he won't be able to do anything to help him. Gus made up his mind about Nacho's fate, whatever it may be. We come back to Saul and Kim. They started the first phase of the plan to take Howard Hamlin down. They visit a golf club at which he is a regular, and their intentions lay unclear at the moment, and right as Saul enters, he is distracted by Kevin and starts playing his little role.
Kevin, hey, how's it going?
I'm sorry. I'm sure this will just be a moment. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. Just so I understand, you were going to give me a tour and then you realized you don't need new members?
We have a waiting list.
Okay, but you're the membership director, so you would have known that before. It doesn't really add up. I mean, I came in and everyone was rolling out the red carpet, and then all of a sudden, something changed. I don't...
Mr. Goodman,
Goodman, the name. The second you heard it, everything turned on a dime. Waiting list. I think you're talking about an exclusion list. It's okay. I should have known because, I mean, look, it's wall-to-wall mayonnaise in here. So, listen, if you're going to be restricted, have the courage to say so.
There's no question.
Here it is, folks. Anti-Semitism, alive and well, right here in Albuquerque.
Sir, we have many Jewish members.
Oh, good. Well, you met your quota then. Gold star for you.
Hold on. That's gotta be the biggest load of horse crap I've ever heard in my life. Go crawl back in your hole, McGill, or Goodman, whatever you're calling yourself. What are you up to anyway? Ginning up another one of your put-up job lawsuits, you two-faced, blackmailing, money-grubbing son of a bitch.
You're saying the quiet part out loud, I think.
Gentlemen, can we just keep the volume down?
You know damn well that's not what I meant.
In this day and age, I'd hoped and prayed we'd be beyond this.
You're about as Jewish as my Aunt Fanny.
5,000 years and it never ends. Here it is, violence. It always comes to this.
Mr. Wachtel, please.
Come on, Kev. You go to hell, you lying sack of shit.
Sir.
After that, he goes to the bathroom, where he creates a distraction and goes on about his business. He plants a fake jack pouch on Howard's locker, but then Howard comes back, and prepare yourselves, this is probably one of the greatest scenes in television history, period.
Expansion? We're not headhunting any of your associates, if that's what you're worried about. Need a towel?
Sure.
Hey.
Hey.
But, ultimately, Saul gets away, and the seed of deception is successfully planted in Clifford's main's head. We cut back again to Lalo. He decided on illegally crossing the border with unconventional means. But, right as he is about to step in, he hesitates, and decides to call Hector first. After the conversation that ensues, we see him realize that he does not only need to kill Gus, no, he has to expose him. And he won't reveal himself until he finds damning evidence to prove it. The episode ends with Lalo madly driving off into the desert. The second episode starts with us at Nacho's place. His companions are escorted out of the premises by Mike and his guys, and they proceed to stage the house, as you could say, with them replacing the safe after drilling through it. Mike finishes by placing a mysterious letter in the safe, which content we can only speculate at the time.
I was a hard worker. I was a company man. 20 years, and I didn't miss a single day. They even gave me a plaque for it. was a gold plaque. Perfect attendance. But when they handed it to me, I wrenched my back. I was in so much pain I couldn't do my job, which meant I couldn't put food on the table. I didn't want to sue, but with a family to support, what choice did I have?
Wait, who are you supposed to be again?
Whatever. The backstory is just...
Yeah, Jimmy is a silly little guy. We see Jimmy and Kim goof around a little bit until they figure out how to progress with the plan on taking Howard Hamlin down. They need someone to grow that seed that they planted in Cliff Main said about Howard, and Kim just so happens to come up with the perfect fit for the job. Saul comes to the Kettlemans with a so-called golden ticket idea to clear Mr. Kettleman's name, which, of course, it's impossible, but these morons, after being told by other countless lawyers that there is no chance for that happening, they still take the bait. Then we get a little play by Jimmy, after that we watch him smugly walk away. We cut back to Nacho. He's still stuck at the hotel with no response on the phone for a long time now, and he starts getting nervous and agitated, then hears sudden footsteps at the door. Ah, yes! Finally, a character I can relate to. I too have social anxiety whenever I have to pick up my delivery food. After taking the food, we see him spotting an odd fellow, seemingly out of place. But in his current state of mind, he's on enemy territory. Basically anyone could be out here to get him. He then changes his interest and notices an oddly convenient building with an even oddlier convenient hole in one of the boarded up windows. We then proceed to Cliff Main's office where he is told of two oddly familiar clients wanting to talk to him. The Kettlemans then proceed to tell Cliff the little story Jimmy intentionally sold them, which of course ends up changing nothing for them because there is no actual proof and both of them are denied counsel because of the obvious conflict of interest that will result of this partnership. And yet, the Kettlemans serve the purpose in Jimmy's plan perfectly.
Well, then, we will take our business elsewhere.
Sorry we couldn't be of help.
Bet you are.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know I don't need to remind you everything we just heard was privileged.
Of course. And Howard Hamlin, please. I tried to save you the time.
You did, Aaron. Thank you.
The freedom of assembly and the freedom of petition for redress. Name the other three. Go. Yes? Freedom of religion. Right, there's one more.
Balsa and... fucking Bal... Balsa and Gustavo give their sincerest condolences, but then something weird happens. Gustavo is definitely shocked by this. Hector would never do such a thing. He basically hates his guts. And yet they shake hands.
What did you learn?
Lalo Salamanca lives.
We proceed back to Nacho's house, where Bolsa and his men drill through the same safe we saw at the start of the episode. After opening it, he notices the letter planted by Mike.
¿Cómo le puedo ayudar?
Disculpe, número equivocado.
Well, now it's confirmed. Gus doesn't care whether Nacho lives or dies. He only cares if his lie keeps going. This trope will return later on. Nacho, still being stuck at the hotel, gets tired of waiting and gets matters into his own hands. He kicks down the radiator, which lets him escape through the back of the building undetected. We then see that he indeed was being watched. He confronts the man at gunpoint and wants him to tell him who he's been working for. After some skillful trickery and acting, he forces a call to the man who's been watching him, confirming that they want him to stay and eventually die at this hotel rather than help him.
Volteate. Now.
No puedes disparar, amigo. En este pueblo de mierda, alguien oyó un balazo y ya valió.
After finding out that the help will never arrive and he's basically on his own, he takes matters of escaping into his own hands, but it's too late. The cartel's men are already here and he knows this will not go down quietly.
Vivo.
With one tire popped, Nacho makes it out alive. Jimmy gets a call from the Kettlemans wanting to have a talk with him.
You're gonna use the stick, right?
The stick, yeah, well, it's a big stick. It's huge. But I know these people. They're more carrot types.
Oh my god!
Especially her.
He said it! He said defend! Also, Kim is coming with. At the time, Gustavo is losing his mind over the fact that his whole plan is falling apart. With Lalo still alive and Nacho now out on the loose, he can't be certain about anything. And we know Gustavo is a man of power and control, so without any of those at the time, he goes for extreme measures.
El padre de Vargas. Tráigalo aquí.
No. You're not doing that.
Mike can't allow this. He grew quite fond of Nacho. Even if he made bad choices, it doesn't mean that his father has to pay for them. He's got nothing to do with it. At gunpoint, Mike then gets a call. It's Nacho. He wants to talk with Gustavo. We then follow Saul and Kim as they talk to the Kettlemans. Saul offers them the proverbial carrot, but when Kim hears that they won't go for it, we see her enter the girl boss mode.
We lost everything. And we didn't deserve any of this.
Okay. Enough carrot. Well, it's this rundown little mom and pop outfit I've had my eye on for a while. Don't ask me why. Clearly I need to get a life. But from what I can glean, their clients always end up with smaller refunds than they deserve.
Please don't do this.
Do the clients sign over third-party authorization?
Bingo. So what I'm thinking is, these creeps file legit returns with you guys, give the clients fake ones that show about half the proper amount, and then pocket the difference.
Classic scam. Well, I know just the guy to go after these dirtbags. Tony or Apollo. Real bulldog. I'll transfer you over.
Such a big help, Justin.
You got it. Talk soon.
You don't have to do this.
Don't I? Betsy, you'll probably get 24 months. Maybe 18 with good behavior. But Craig, you are a two-time loser. They will definitely make an example out of you. Each false return they discover will be a separate felony. What are we talking, 100? 200?
CID Anthony or Apollo speaking.
I love how Saul just stands there looking around the place, almost like a child waiting for his mom to stop yelling at the cashier at Best Buy. But anyway, with no other option, the Kettlemans comply and Jimmy and Kim leave, but someone is following them. We follow Nacho right after escaping the Salamancas. Seeing as he has nowhere to go, he decides to stop the car and perform his last stand, but in a second of hesitation, he notices an abandoned oil tank and decides to seek refuge in it. Upon entering, he watches through a crevice as Salamancas approach the tank. He doesn't have any choice but to submerge himself in the thick oil. Also on a side note, I actually timed this scene, and to be fair, he was submerged in the oil for a total of a whole minute and 10 seconds, which is, to my surprise, actually very plausible. After emerging from the black goo, he has no other choice but to simply, for now, wait them out. Under the cover of the night, he climbs out and tries to contact someone, but his phone is of course broken. We then see him seek refuge at a mechanic's shop and clean himself up. He's then interrupted by the owner, who doesn't want any trouble and offers him a towel. We see him then contact his father. At first, when he picks up, we see his relief as his father is safe for now. They then proceed to chat a little with his father, telling him yet again to go on the police. Through the whole conversation, we see Michael Mando's amazing performance, expressing indescribable sadness, powerlessness, and yet a little joy. After that talk, he realizes what he has to do next.
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
You knew that I was going to Mexico to die, that I was never supposed to make it out of that motel. And you let it happen.
Not my call.
What happens now?
That's up to you.
Is that bastard with you? Put him on.
Nacho has figured out that Gus is currently at a loser's position, and he realizes that Gus is a control freak, so he uses that knowledge to arrange a deal with him.
Even if I disappear, everyone's gonna smell your stink all over it. The only way that this works for you is with me dead.
At this point, he doesn't care if he lives or dies. He just wants to use the leftover leverage that he's got to ensure his father's safety. We now see Kim and Jimmy talking through the next step of the plan, in which Howard's car will play a key role. Upon arguing a little, they decide to take the real thing. We then follow Kim for a little as she clearly dominates other lawyers, girl boss style. After that exchange, Suzanne is pretty much molding and decides to talk to Kim one-on-one.
I'm sure you recognize this man. He's a client of Jimmy McGill's, one Jorge de Guzman. This is Eduardo Salamanca. Same person.
Okay.
She explains to Kim that Jimmy was in her hope, forcefully representing him in court, and that they want his help in seizing the actions of the cartel.
You know what's wrong. And I think Jimmy does too.
Saul.
I'm sorry?
He practices now under the name Saul Goodman, although I distinctly remember you referring to him as a scumbag.
God bless Jim Sexler! After that, we watch a truck being unloaded, and when the dust has settled, this is, I believe, his literal quote-unquote last supper. We then see Mike and Nacho discuss the plan that Frink has prepared, and in that plan, Nacho isn't a clean, well-fed, not beat-up man. So that has to be corrugated, of course. To be honest, I didn't see many people point this out, but in my humble opinion, Nacho and Mike's relationship is very reminiscent of Mike's and Jesse's. They are just people who got tangled up with the wrong type of folk and just couldn't or didn't want to get out until it was too late, and Mike notices, and that makes him get fond of them. And this whole comparison makes Mike's storyline in Breaking Bad even more depressing than it already is.
Good to see you. How's night school treating you?
And econ, Mr. Hamlin.
Ah, good for you. Keep it up.
Oh my god, it's Huel! Yes! This is undoubtedly the best side character in Better Call Saul / Breaking Bad. Bravo! Wait, let me check. Wait, hold on. Bravo, Gordon? After a successful mission, Saul and Huel meet up. While Huel questions his actions, he can't really do anything else. I am still waiting for that Huel show. Kim then tells Saul what she has been told at the courthouse and discusses with him the possibilities.
Well, I guess it's basically, do you want to be a friend of the cartel, or do you want to be a rat?
Well, if you put it like that, I'm on my way to represent the criminals in court, baby! It's the day before the meetup with the Salamancas is supposed to take place. We see Frink examining Nacho almost like a prop in his play, if everything checks out, and probably doesn't want to think of him as a human being anymore. They then proceed to discuss their further plans, and at the end, when Mike and Gus go outside, we see Nacho staring at a glass. We now watch Nacho as he's being delivered to the destination with Mike on the sniper providing cover if things go south. Nacho is then tied up, but oh wait, is that a glass shot I see? I wonder what that will result in. As they arrive, we see Bosa and Salamancas awaiting their arrival. Nacho is then questioned by Bosa. He basically tells them the story Frink wanted him to tell, but in a thrust of rage, if you can call a cripple ring a bell that, we see Hector pointing towards Gus. Nacho then perfectly ridicules this claim, and from this point, I'm just gonna let the whole scene play out.
Alvarez we know. Los Odios we know. Was anyone else involved?
Him? You think the chicken man? What a joke. Alvarez has been paying me for years, but you know what? I would have done it for free because I hate every last one of you psycho sacks of shit. I opened Lalo's gate, and I would do it again, and I'm glad what they did to him. He's a soulless pig, and I wish I killed him with my own hands. And you know what else, Hector? I put you in that chair. Oh yeah, your heart meds. I switched them for sugar pills. You were dead and buried, and I had to watch this asshole bring you back. So when you are sitting in your shitty nursing home and you're sucking down on your Jell-O night after night for the rest of your life, you think of me. You twisted fuck.
Es suyo.
This whole scene is just phenomenal. Gus is even shocked by the outcome of it. In a sick, twisted way, this is the perfect resolution for Nacho. With his father safe, he doesn't care if he makes it or not at this point. You can also see a bit of hesitance when he holds Bosa at gunpoint, but he doesn't want to be at a run for the rest of his life. He is tired of constantly being chased. Now, after seeing this, we can pretty much make out the meaning of the episode's first shot. The flower seemingly grows right next to the place where Nacho died. We see it flourishing in the surrounding sea of dead, colorless bushes and grasses. And another interesting fact to point out here is the meaning of blue flowers on their own. As we know from storytelling of Breaking Bad, colors matter, and blue flowers in particular are a sign of hope and love. the God's name are these people? Upon entering their house, we just see them casually walking around, people with guns. It seems that this house is a base of some sort of monitoring for this specific house. We cut to Howard. He is on his way to visit his therapist. Upon starting the conversation about his dream, we are pulled out into what is this? We then watch him as he casually drives off with the key he fabricated before, leaving this pathetic little town, so ideally no one will pardon. Him then meets with Cliff for seemingly business-related reasons, but we know that's not true, she doesn't care, Lamau. The true intent of this meeting is to have Cliff right where they want him to be. Jimmy then picks up a rather familiar face. Kim then proceeds to give a green light to Jimmy, and after receiving it, he promptly drives off, and then we get this Oscar-winning scene.
You can't skimp on the support staff. They're the beating heart of the operation. I know that's true in our office. No! Jesus.
You son of a bitch! You twisted, nasty piece of shit!
Wasn't that Howard?
Damn it! You owe me!
Cam, are you okay?
You owe me!
I mean, I don't know. It happened so fast.
Damn it, you owe me! What a rip-off! Damn you!
After a successful mission... Oh, come on, who moves a cone? Jimmy, out of ideas, tries to wrestle a parking sign out and make it seem like there was another parking space available, and barely makes it without Howard noticing. After a mission complete, Kim pays Wendy, but not without her noticing a car that she claims to be undercover cops, although a moment later we see it follow Kim. Later on we see Saul follow his daily routine at the courthouse, but everyone's against him, cold and hostile. He finally has enough.
What the hell is going on? How come everyone's treating me like I'm covered in oozing pus sores?
I liked you better when you were just a regular bottom feeder. But this...
This? What is this?
I understand advocating for your client. Deep in my heart, I get it. But you scammed the court. You scammed the judge. And for what? To get a murdering cartel psychopath back out on the street? It's just... wrong.
Kim, on the other hand, has the time of her life, until she notices yet again the same car that followed her earlier, and understandably straight up confronts them. Going back to Jimmy, although his recent client doesn't get him much popularity from fellow lawyers, the phones start ringing, and for once in his life, their business is booming. We return to Kim yet again and see her end a meeting with a client, until we spot an unusual face.
I'm sorry?
The two men that were following you, they're gone.
Do I know you?
Would you mind sitting for a moment and I will answer any questions I can? I have men watching you and your husband. I'm not with the police, and as far as I know, they're not investigating either of you. I do know that you've been up to a few things that you probably would rather keep private. I don't care. That's not what this is about. I'm trying to solve a problem of my own.
What problem?
Lalo Salamanca.
Lalo Salamanca's dead. He isn't.
We're watching anyone he might contact. That includes you and your husband. Most likely he'll never reach out. He's got bigger fish to fry. But in the 1,000 to 1 chance that he does.
And who do you work for?
I said I would answer anything I can.
You're the guy from the desert. The one who was out there with Jimmy. Why are you telling me this and not him?
Because I think you're made of sterner stuff.
After being told that Lalo is in fact not dead at all, they part ways. Now we know what house was being observed. It's Gus's. After unraveling the fact that Lalo is in fact alive, he must have established a rather elaborate security system. We then see how prepared he is, from a bulletproof vest and a hidden gun to an underground tunnel connecting the second house, which is the one we saw at the beginning of the episode. This man is prepared for anything, except the fact that Lalo won't show up. It's very unlikely. What is likely though is the fact that Lalo knows this and uses it to drain Frink's resources as his sanity. He probably for the first time in his life met his match and is terrified because of it. The episode ends with Jimmy showing Tim a possible film location that we all know and love from Breaking Bad. Kim is pretty shocked by the fact that Lalo still lives, so much so that she barricades the door. We all know this is not stopping this man. She then talks to Saul for a little bit, but decides not to tell him. Gus here is at one of his lowest moments in the series. He decides to blow off some steam by focusing on work. We then follow Howard as he's attending a meeting about the Sandpiper Care Facility case that Jimmy way back when presented and guaranteed himself 20% cut of the outcome without a pinch of his involvement. Upon seeing that the matters are slipping out of hand, he intervenes and delivers, to be honest, one hell of a speech and calms the crowd down. After that, Cliff confronts Howard about the recent events he's observed. Cliff is genuinely worried for him, but after a brief moment, realization kicks in, and Howard knows exactly who's behind all this. Cutting back into Saul's endeavors, we see him trying to hire his ex-employee. He needs a secretary after all with all these new clients. Although she has doubts, she cracks under the promise of a bigger paycheck. Kim then decides to catch up with Viola, also her ex-secretary. They seemingly talk about nothing, but Kim manages to extract a name of a mediator that will be involved in the Sandpiper case, Casimiro. We then watch Saul as he follows his grind-set plan on making as much money as fast as possible.
Yeah, 10. Hey, this ain't fine dining, okay? Our business model is turning tables. So, Francesca, I'm here. Remind me again why I'm making a house call. Sounds like money. Okay, great. Great work. Mr. Ward! Hey. I'm an attorney. I have an appointment with Mr. Ward. So, are you Mr. Ward? Okay. Well, good evening to you.
Hello, Jimmy.
Mr. Ward, I presume.
But in fact, he has been lured by Howard into a boxing ring. At first, Jimmy laughs it off, and to be honest, if they actually were gonna they are actually boxing, oh my god. Tempted to kick a man's ass that in his mind tore him down at every point he could through his career, he can't resist, and to be honest, neither would I.
Go ahead. Come on, Howard. Come on. Yeah! I'm the champ! Hey, look at me! Here we go. Here we go. Hit me. Hey, take a shot. Come on, take a swing. Oh! All right. Here we go.
Right after the fight, we see Howard talk to a private investigator he hired to follow Jimmy. It seems that he has had enough of Jimmy's crap and probably wants to build a case against him, just like Chuck a couple seasons back. We then see beaten up Saul sprint back to his house, with Jim lightening his day a little.
This'll work. I got court first thing in the morning. I can't show up looking like Leon Spinks.
Why not? I'd say you'd be missing a bet. I'm Saul Goodman. Pow! I fight for you.
They then discuss the plan furthermore, including the ex-judge Casimiro.
You asleep? All right. Hey. Part of the reason we set it up this way is so you can get some rest.
No news yet, I take it.
We then watch as Gus's paranoia completely absorbs him and renders him even unable to sleep. They actually visit the dig site made by the German workers where Gus's future meth lab will stand. After strolling for a while, he promptly leaves.
Was darf sein?
Ein Martini, bitte.
Vodka or gin?
Give me whatever you like.
You're American.
I guess you could spot us a mile away. Yeah, I'm here on business.
From California?
No, New Mexico. It's another state. I mean, it's like California, just less traffic. Thank you. Little town called Hemis.
Hemis? I almost visited there once.
Almost.
This close.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't make it. It's a beautiful place. The hot springs.
Yes. That's what I was wanting, you know, the, oh, how do you say? Mineralium.
Minerals?
After Lalo uses his ungodly people skills, he learns her current whereabouts as well as her work schedule. Right now, he is searching for any kind of proof that Gus is working against the cartel, or at least not in its favor. He then proceeds to break into the house the very next day, searching for any kind of clue on where to look next. Upon finding the very same ruler we saw at the start of the episode, he has another lead to the men that were working for him and seemingly for no reason didn't show at the funeral. He then hears the woman coming back to her house because she forgot her keys and seemingly out of pure ridiculous luck makes out alive without even knowing it. Oh my fucking god, no way! An actual normal scene at the start of the episode and not some cryptid ass bullshit? How brave. We watch as Kim helps her mom with a scam at a jewelry shop, with her obviously not enjoying it, but well, what can she do? This definitely gives us a lot more of insight on what Kim's childhood was like and how it changed her perception on the world. We know that Kim became a lawyer to get out of this situation and significantly change her life. And well, she succeeded. She became a well-respected lawyer, probably one of the best in the field, doing what she loves by helping people that probably remind her of herself. But Jimmy's influence definitely uncovered some of her old self, with her now not only accepting Jimmy's unlawful side hustles, but being a part of them and actually getting a lot of fun out of it. As we follow Howard doing his day-to-day morning stuff, we have a first look at his actual home life, because as of now, we only saw him during work time, and we also have a chance to meet his wife. Later, we see the private detective he hired show him what he's got. It's basically nothing much of interest except a $20,000 withdrawal, but that is all Howard needs.
Alright, how we doing?
The vet provides them with a substance that purpose is not yet known, but its symptoms are similar to a high caffeine state, which might suggest that they are going for a cocaine type of reaction, and from that alone we already know who is the target. Apart from that, he treats Jimmy's eye and then he mentions a rather interesting item for sale that gets their attention.
I cannot wait to be done with all of this. I hear you. You know, I read somewhere that vets are even more depressed than lawyers. Depressed? No. I love being a vet. Look over there. See that? That's what it's all about. Animals are my life. It's this other stuff. It's getting to be too much. No offense. Anyway, guy's got to know when he's bagged his limit. Oh, so you're closing up shop? Yep, leaving town. Once I sell my little black book, it's gonna be all animals all the time.
Black book?
Yeah, keys to the kingdom. You know, you call me up, you're looking for a someone. Keep all my someones in here. Okay, I see it. Knock yourself out.
A keen eye would notice that in the first scene of the first episode of the season, we can spot the same notebook in Jimmy's possession, suggesting he probably bought the thing from him. After watching him in action, we see her chat a little with Cliff. He shares some insider info, but we ultimately don't hear the whole thing. She then goes on to visit Saul at his newfound place, where they prepare for a shoot of some sorts. She then proceeds to share what Cliff has told her. Saul is extremely excited for her, it can be a huge opportunity. Unfortunately, the meeting related to this takes place the exact same day D-Day takes place, which is probably the next big step in the plan to take Howard down.
Guten Tag!
Guten Tag. Das ist Privatgelände. Wen suchen Sie? Haben Sie sich verlaufen?
Yeah, sorry, I don't speak any German. Are you lost? It's a beautiful place you have here. The air is just so fresh.
We are back at Germany where currently Lalo is. He tracked down one of the workers that built Frink's underground lab. At first he's not confrontational with the man, but after seeing that he is not willing to cooperate, he quickly changes the tone. After a little session of hide-and-seek, Lalo is caught off guard. He reveals what he's looking for. He wants information on what they were building.
Carajo! I think you broke one of my ribs! Here. Tie that off before you bleed to death. You and I are gonna have a talk.
We watch as Saul executes his fast food style of lawyering, with quantity being the biggest factor. He then asks a favor from Francesca to make a phone call to act as a relative of one of the Sandpiper residents involved in the case. After extracting the info, Saul goes back to work. And one thing I want to point out in this exchange is that in my opinion this is the closest we see Saul resemble his Breaking Bad self. He acts cocky and confrontational and only cares about the outcome and not the people in the middle, as we see him treat Francesca poorly. We then follow Mike's exchange with Tyrus as he is skeptical about his recent decisions on spreading out men to cover ground, probably resulting in him taking his men from watching Saul's place in case Lalo shows up there. After that, he spends a little time with his granddaughter, bringing him a little happiness and reassuring himself what he is doing this all for. We cut back to Saul and Tim have a cute little moment together, as they enjoy each other's company after a day well spent. The next day, he goes out to a liquor store to grab a bottle of the same intoxicant he and Tim drank on the first actual scam way back when.
Sorry. I don't think we have it, sir.
If you do, I'm looking at it. It's the wood box, upper left.
Oh, right you are. Didn't realize we had any left. Gotta warn you, though, it's on the pricey side. $4.95 for the bottle.
Worth every penny.
Oh, you've had it before. Because I was gonna let you know about the stopper here. It's pretty sharp.
Thanks, I'll be careful.
All right. Well, drink it in good health.
Thanks. Come again. Can I help you, sir? I think you're holding a bottle for Casimiro. Take a look. It's all paid for.
By ridiculous chance, he encounters the same man they faked photos of. This ruins everything, and so distressed Jimmy calls Kim, leading to her ditching the meeting she was just driving to assist Jimmy in the resulting fallout. We've now reached the mid-season finale. Lalo is back in America and he now observes the laundry place under which the lab was built. He currently waits for one singular reason to strike. We then proceed to watch as Saul gathers the whole squad in order to reshoot the whole thing. They then proceed to do so. Jimmy then proceeds to deliver these photos to... Wait a minute, isn't that Howard's private investigator? We then watch Howard prepare for an important meeting regarding the retirement home facilities. Howard then performs a rather classy trick.
Excuse me, Mr. Hamlin, I was told I should restock the fridge before the meeting.
No worries. Here. Let me give you a hand.
Thank you.
You're Gary?
Carrie Anderson.
Of course, Carrie. Carrie, what happens when you drop or shake a can of soda?
Right. I'm sorry, I'm
Here, let me show you a little trick. Something about the centrifugal force pulls the bubbles from the inside of the can, stops it from exploding. Don't want our clients to get a surprise, now do we?
That works. All right.
You know who taught me that trick? He used to do it, out of habit. Anytime he opened a can, almost unconsciously. I asked him about it once. Just his way of being prepared for anything. Accidental or otherwise.
After that, he meets up with his not-so-private investigator, where he shows him the photos Jimmy just fabricated.
Sorry about that. I'm fresh out of the bath.
This is how I suppose they administered him the drug to make him sweat and seem agitated. He then proceeds to the meeting and Jimmy and Tim are waiting there on the line from the number he extracted earlier through Francesca. As Howard recognizes the man from the picture, he freaks out.
Howard?
Wow. I'm sorry. I don't think we can proceed with these negotiations today.
Why not? Let's just say circumstances beyond any of our control.
Well, I'm going to have to insist that you be more specific.
Well, our mediator here keeps using the word compromise, when he, in fact, is compromised.
I beg your pardon?
I think you heard me. Howard. You drive a silver Miata, correct? I do.
And this morning around 7 a.m., you walked across Trumbull Park in town.
No.
You didn't stop at the park this morning.
I didn't. I got to Albuquerque early, not at 7 a.m. And I didn't go to a park.
You sure?
Howard, if the judge says he's sure, then
Of course I'm sure. If it matters, I arrived in town about 10. I stopped at a gas station. I went by a liquor store and bought a gift. I had a lunch salad and a very nice latte from the Flying Star in Manal. I read Barron's, then came here.
So you weren't in town to visit our mutual acquaintance, James Morgan McGill. Or maybe you know him as Saul Goodman.
After the rest doesn't believe him, he decides to bring in the photos he just looked at. But they're gone. Howard absolutely loses his mind and the negotiations end at that.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your patience and sorry for the wait. This is Clifford Main, lead counsel speaking, and I'm here with some good news. An offer's been made.
Wow, they are despicable. Lalo then records a video intended for Don Eladio in which he explains on what he's been up to and that in fact he's alive. After that he decides to roll up on Hector, although...
It's fine, I'm looking to speak to one of your residents, Hector Salamanca.
I'm a relative.
Of course, just a moment.
He immediately notices and hangs up. This was probably a sound of a bug that Gus planted just for this situation. After some inconvenient stress relief practices, he decides to call again and discuss what he learned, which isn't much, but it's enough for Gus's men to immediately move out the location where he is supposedly about to attack. After seeing that, he decides to leave, but not without reminding himself of one particular sleazy lawyer.
Your man, he's like the cucaracha, you know? Born survivor. If trouble found him, give it a day. If he's alive, he'll show.
Howard then decides to confront Tim and Jimmy about their little scheme that they've been performing on him. And after a little talk, this happens. And again, I'm just gonna let this another amazing scene play out.
Oh, yeah. Been sleeping in the guest house for the better part of a year. Just one more thing good old Howard has to work through. But yes, I will land on my feet. I will be okay. But you? Far from it. You too. You two are soulless. Jimmy, you can't help yourself. Chuck knew it. You were born that way. But you, one of the smartest and most promising human beings I've ever known. And this is the life you choose.
All right, you're too tight to drive. I'm calling you.
Oh, good. Phony compassion. No, very, very believable, but I'm far from done.
Oh, no. You are done, Howard. Sorry, but you need to stop this now and you need to go home.
You're perfect for each other. You have a piece missing. I thought you did it for the money, but now it's so clear. Screw the money. You did it for fun. You get off on it. You're like Leopold and Loeb, two sociopaths.
All right, that's enough.
Oh, you know it's true. You just have the guts to admit it.
Great, now you need to go.
I'm going to make it clear to everyone, because I'm going to dedicate my life to making sure that everybody knows the truth. Believe it. You can't hide who you really are forever.
Howard? Howard, you need to leave.
Who are you? Me? Nobody. I just need to talk to my lawyers.
Oh, is that right? You want some advice? Find better lawyers.
Howard, please just turn around.
No. Take your time.
What's this about?
Please. Please just tell us what you want.
Well, like I said, to talk.
I think I'm in the middle of something. There's really no need to...
Oh my God! No! Oh my God! No!
Okay. Let's talk.
And yeah, that's the first half of the season. Thank you for joining me in my hour-long TED Talk of a show about basically some goofy lawyers. For real though, this season was amazing. And from what it seems, it wants to cement itself as one of the greatest in its field. I will of course continue in the next part, but for now we just have to wait until the next half comes out and ends the Breaking Bad universe for good on an amazing note.
Don't let false allegations bully you into an unfair fight. Hi, I'm Saul Goodman, and I will do the fighting for you. No charge is too big for me. When legal forces have you cornered, better call Saul. I'll get your case dismissed. I'll give you the defense you deserve. Why?